Welcome to the DAS Digital Acuity demonstration video. I will start by explaining how simple our remote control is to use. Along the bottom of the remote are 4 buttons. The first button is Snellen, showing Snellen letters only. The second button is the quick tests. If you press it once, you get a very simple contact lens follow-up acuity test that shows acuities from 2040 to 2025 with only 3 Snellen letters per line. If you feel the patient can handle 2020, simply arrow down or arrow up if they fail 2040. If you press the button a second time, you get our single letter isolation test that runs the full chart from 2400 to 2015, 1 letter at a time. If you press it a third time, it takes you back to Snellen. The third button is the illiterate tests. If you press the button once, you get children's slides. If you press it a second time, you get tumbling E's. If you press it a third time, you get numbers. If you press it a fourth time, it takes you back to Snellen. The fourth button is for auxiliary tests. Press once for fixation spot, press a second time for the Worth 4 dot, press third time for astigmatic wheel, and press it a fourth time to take you back to Snellen. This button, represents by a square with a slash mark, is your red-green layover. The volume control is for adjusting movie sound during movie play. This button of a house is your exit or home button. This takes you to the opening screen where you would make a selection or power down the screen. This round wheel represents the start button in the middle, an up and down control for advancing the acuity chart, and horizontal buttons for isolating single lines. Once you turn the power on the monitor, the system will boot up to the main screen. To get your cursor, press the Start button. Then launch the DAS system. It will open directly to Snellen. We press the down arrows and the up arrows to get our acuities. We press the horizontal to isolate, and we can press our red-green overlay. As discussed earlier, the second button is the quick test. That brings us to 2040, 2030, and 2025. If we press the quick test button again, it brings us to single letter isolation. If we press the button again, it brings us back to Snellen. The third button is the illiterates. We press that once and we get children's slides. We press it again, we get tumbling E's. We press it again, and we get numbers. And we press it again, and it takes us back to Snellen. We press the fourth button, and we get auxiliary, fixation. Fixation is a good place to leave the system when you're not using it. Press it again, Worth 4 dot, press it again, astigmatic clock, press it again, back to Snellen. We can then turn the control panel over and we can press R, which will randomize these, and we can press L, that will give us a single line Snellen, not multiple line, and it will have the correct label in the upper left hand corner for each. If we press L again, it gives us back our multiple lines. And if we press the P on the back side of the control panel, it plays a children's movie. We can end that by hitting the Home button. To set up the acuity chart, we come down to Options, And this allows us to set single line or multi-line. Multi-line is suggested for default. Snellen is checked, and we want to go to common, not random letters, and then we set the preferences. We then go back to preferences, and we set preferences again, and it takes us to, are you mirrored or not mirrored? Yes or no. Would you like random? No. And then we can adjust our feet. It says 15 feet here, and we can scroll up to 18, all the way up to 24, 5, and then we go down to 8. And then we save it. We can then exit by either hitting the exit button or the house button, or we can come down and just hit the house button here. On the page we also have videos stored. We press that and it brings up a selection of YouTube videos, anywhere from Can I Wear Contacts to glaucoma to AMD and other fish tank assembly things.